My sister's successful siblings' Instagram post went viral for all the wrong reasons. She featured my brother and cousin, but left me out because I'm the family disappointment. Then someone tagged me in the comments with my Forbes 30 Under 30 Tech Millionaire article. What happened next broke the internet. But to understand how one Instagram post destroyed 8 years of family assumptions, I need to take you back to the beginning. Asterisk, my name is Sarah, and in my family, success has always been measured by visibility, not actual achievement-visibility. My sister Jessica understood this better than anyone. At 26, she had built her brand around being the perfect lifestyle influencer. 100,000 Instagram followers hung on her every carefully curated post. Her feed was a masterpiece of aesthetic perfection, and captions that somehow made the mundane sound inspirational. But Jessica's real talent was narrative construction. She had this incredible ability to craft stories that made our family look like something out of a magazine. And in those stories, everyone had a role to play. Michael, our older brother, was the brilliant legal mind. His Harvard law degree made for excellent content. Jessica would post photos of him in his suits, share articles about his cases, and caption them with things like "so proud of my brother's incredible mind," #LawyerLife, #ProudSister. Our cousin Emma was the creative entrepreneur. When she opened her boutique, Jessica documented every step. The grand opening, the celebrity customers. The magazine features Jessica turned Emma's business into a compelling Instagram series. And then there was me. In Jessica's carefully constructed social media universe, I was the problem she couldn't solve. I didn't photograph well, not because I wasn't attractive, but because I wasn't performative. Tech startup employee doesn't have the same ring as Harvard lawyer. So she made a decision that would define our relationship. She edited me out. Not completely, that would have been too obvious, but subtly, strategically. I was rarely in family photos. When I was positioned at the edges, easy to crop out later, and I let it happen. Why? Because I had bigger things to worry about than Instagram aesthetics. Asterisk 3 years ago, while Jessica was posting about her morning latte and Michael was sharing courtroom victories, I was sitting in a boardroom negotiating the sale of my company. The startup I'd co-founded in Kaleja platform that used AI to optimize supply chain logistics had caught the attention of a major tech conglomerate. What started as a dorm room project had grown into a business worth $50 million by share of the sale, after taxes and distributions to early employees. $18 million. $18 million. But here's the thing about that kind of money. When you're 25 years old, you don't quite know what to do with it. I could have bought a mansion, a sports car, designer clothes. I could have outperformed Jessica at her own game. Instead, I made a decision that would shape the next 3 years. I decided to stay invisible. I wanted to understand what my family was really made of. I wanted to know if they could value me for who I was, not what I had. So I lived the same life I'd always lived. Same apartment, same car, same clothes. I took a position at another startup, not because I needed the money, but because I loved the work. But behind the scenes, I was building something bigger than any of them imagined. I started an investment fund focused on supporting women entrepreneurs. I quietly funded 12 different startups over 2 years. I established scholarship programs at 3 universities. I became what venture capitalists call an angel investor. The irony was delicious. While Jessica was building her brand around the appearance of success, I was building an actual empire. While she was posting about girl boss energy, I was writing checks that were launching real girl bosses, and none of them knew. Asterisk. The family dynamic that emerged was both predictable and painful. Michael was the golden child, Jessica was the star, and I was the question mark. The one who prompted concerned conversations and worried glances. The assumptions multiplied. Over time, I was struggling financially because I didn't display wealth. I was unsuccessful professionally. Because my job wasn't impressive sounding. I was directionless generally because I wasn't broadcasting my achievements. Family gatherings became exercises in gentle intervention. Everyone had advice for how I could improve my situation. Michael suggested law school. Jessica offered to help me build my personal brand. Mom wondered if I'd considered more stable career paths. The conversations were always kind, always well-intentioned, and always based on the fundamental assumption that I needed fixing. But the most painful part wasn't the misunderstanding. It was the exclusion. I watched Jessica craft post after post celebrating our family's achievements while systematically erasing my presence. Dinner with my successful siblings. She'd caption a photo of her and Michael. So blessed to be surrounded by such driven people. Accompanied photos that somehow never quite included me. I wasn't just being underestimated, I was being edited out of my own family's story. Asterisk, the irony of ironies came 6 months ago, when Forbes reached out to feature me in their 30 under 30 inches list. The journalist had discovered my story through industry connections. The quiet young woman who had sold her startup for millions and was now one of the most active angel investors in the country. They wanted to write about my stealth approach to entrepreneurship. The article, when it came out, was everything I could have hoped for. The headline read, Sarah Johnson, 28, the silent tech revolutionary who sold her startup for $50 million and is now funding the next generation of entrepreneurs. The piece detailed my investment portfolio, my philanthropic work, and my deliberately low-profile approach to wealth building. They called me the millionaire next door, and proof that the most successful people are often the ones making the least noise. When the magazine hit newsstands, I bought 5 copies and stared at my face on the cover. Sarah Johnson, featured entrepreneur. But here's the thing about family assumptions. They're incredibly resistant to outside evidence. I didn't tell my family about the Forbes feature. I was curious to see if they'd discover it themselves, if anyone would Google my name or pay attention to business news. They weren't. The magazine sat on newsstands for a month. The digital article got shared thousands of times. My family continued treating me like the same struggling tech worker they'd always known. Asterisk. Last month, Jessica decided to create family content. She'd been working with a social media strategist who told her that authentic family posts performed better than lifestyle content. So she planned an elaborate family photo shoot. Professional photographer, coordinated outfits, perfectly staged environment. The goal was to create a series of posts showcasing our family's success and closeness. I was invited to the shoot. But in the way you invite someone, you feel obligated. To include Sarah, we're doing family photos on Sunday. You should come. Wear something nice, okay? The shoot itself was exactly what I expected. Jessica directed everyone's positioning like a film director. Michael, stand here so we can see your law firm pin. Emma, hold the flowers from your boutique. Mom, Dad, you're the anchors. Look proud and successful. And me. Sarah, maybe stand in the back. Actually, let's try this setup without you first. See how it looks. I watched Jessica take dozens of photos of what she kept calling the successful branch of the family tree. When Jessica posted the main photo 3 days later, I wasn't surprised by what I saw. A gorgeous family portrait featuring Michael, Emma, and our parents, with a caption that made my stomach drop. So proud of my successful siblings. Michael just made partner at his law firm, and my cousin Emma just opened her second boutique. Success runs in the family. Hashtag proud sister. Hashtag family success. Hashtag bless the photo got hundreds of likes within the first hour. Comments poured in praising our accomplished family. I stared at that post for a long time. For the first time in 3 years, I felt genuinely angry. Not because I wasn't in the photo, I'd expected that, but because of the narrative Jessica had created. Success runs in the family, she'd written, while literally excluding the most successful person in the family. But I didn't comment. I didn't call her. I didn't send an angry text. I just waited. Asterisk, the comment appeared 18 hours after Jessica's post went live. I was in a meeting when my phone started buzzing. Text after text, all from numbers I recognized but couldn't immediately place. The messages were all variations of the same theme. Sarah, did you see Jessica's post? Is your sister serious right now? Please tell me you've seen the comments. On Jessica's Instagram. I excused myself from the meeting and opened Instagram. Jessica's post had exploded. What started with a few hundred likes and supportive comments had turned into thousands of likes and hundreds of comments. But the tone had shifted dramatically, and it all started with one comment from my college roommate, Maya. Maya, who knew exactly what I'd accomplished and exactly what I was worth. Her comment was simple and devastating. Wait, at Jessica J. Where's it Sarah Johnson? Didn't she just get featured in Forbes as one of the top young tech entrepreneurs? Here's the link. Forbes 30 under 30. Sarah Johnson, the silent tech revolutionary, that was it. Okay. 1 comment, 2 sentences, and a link. But it was like lighting a match in a room full of gasoline. The first response came within minutes. Wait, Sarah is in Forbes. Then another. Hold up. Did Jessica just leave out the actual millionaire? And another, this is the most ironic post I've ever seen. I watched in real time as people discovered the Forbes article. The comment section became a running commentary of shock and growing awareness of the situation's absurdity. Sarah sold her company for how much? She's funding other entrepreneurs while her sister posts about success. The irony is sending me. Imagine thinking 100K followers is success when your sister has $18 million. But the comment that really sealed the deal came from Marcus Chen, prominent venture capitalist. For those just discovering this, Sarah Johnson is one of the most respected angel investors in tech. She's funded 12 successful startups and revolutionized sustainable entrepreneurship. She's also one of the most humble people I know, which explains why her family apparently doesn't know they're related to a Forbes-featured millionaire. Wild. That comment got 2,847 likes. Jessica's original post got screenshot and shared across platforms. Twitter picked it up. LinkedIn users started discussions about invisible success. TikTok creators made videos about the situation. Within 24 hours, successful siblings post was trending. Okay. And Jessica's Instagram had become an accidental case study in irony. Asterisk, my phone started ringing at 6 a.m. the next morning. It was Michael. And he sounded panicked. Sarah, what the hell is happening? Jessica's post is everywhere. People are calling our law firm asking if I'm related to the Forbes entrepreneur. What is going on? Before I could answer, he continued. And Sarah's, it true? Are you actually? Did you really sell a company for $50 million? The disbelief in his voice was almost funny. Almost? Yes, Michael, it's true. Silence. Long, heavy silence. How? When? Why didn't you tell us? When would I have told you? During one of our family dinners where everyone talks about their achievements while I sit there being pitied. The calls continued all morning. Dad, confused and apologetic. Mom, crying and demanding explanations. But the call I was waiting for came at noon. Jessica's name appeared on my screen. Sarah. Her voice was small, strained. Jessica. I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Okay? Is it real? The Forbes article. The company's sale. Are you actually a millionaire? Hear traffic in the background. She was probably sitting in her car somewhere, hiding from her followers. Yes, Jessica, it's real. I heard her take a shaky breath. Why didn't you tell me? And there it was. The question I'd been waiting 3 years for someone to ask. Because you never wanted to know, Jessica. You wanted me to be the family disappointment. It made your story cleaner, your success more meaningful. How do you include someone in your narrative when their existence threatens the entire premise? Natai never. You literally posted about family success while excluding the most successful person in the family. You called Michael and Emma your successful siblings, while I was sitting on $18 million and a Forbes feature. Asterisk. A week after the post went viral, Jessica asked to meet me for coffee. She looked different when she walked into the cafe. Smaller. Somehow. Less polished. Sarah, I need to apologize. Okay. But I also need to understand. Help me understand how this happened. How did we get so wrong about your life? I looked at my sister. Really looked at her. She was beautiful. Successful in her own right. Genuinely talented. But she was also lost in a way I don't think she'd ever acknowledged. Jessica, you made me into a character in your story instead of treating me like a person in your life. Tizo decided who I was based on what was visible, and then you stopped looking any deeper. But you never corrected us. Tizo, what should I have? Said, actually, I'm a millionaire. How does that conversation go without sounding defensive or arrogant? She stared into her latte for a long moment. Keep thinking about all the times we worried about you. All the conversations about your situation. All the advice we gave you about getting your life together. Yeah, that was particularly ironic. Sarah, I'm successful because of my Instagram. That's my job, my income, my identity. And I built it partly by showcasing our family's achievements. But you're successful because you built something real. Something that employs people and changes lives. Jessica, no, let me finish. While I was getting paid to post pictures, you were funding women entrepreneurs. While I was building my follower count, you were building actual businesses. While I was creating content about success, you were creating actual success. She looked up at me, and I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Genuine respect. I don't know how to make this right, Sarah. You start by seeing me as I actually am, not as who you assumed I was. And who are you, actually? I'm someone who builds things quietly. I'm someone who believes success doesn't have to be performed to be real. I'm someone who loves our family enough to let you underestimate me for 3 years while I figured out if you could love the real me. And the jury's still out. That conversation happened 6 weeks ago. The viral post has been shared over 100,000 times across platforms. Jessica's follower count actually increased apparently. People find authentic failure more compelling than curated success. She's pivoted her content to focus on the reality behind social media. Ironically, her most successful post ever is now the one where she got everything wrong. Michael has started asking me about my work. Real questions. Genuine interest. My parents are still processing, but they're trying. And Jessica, she's learning. She's started asking about my investments, my work, my actual interests, instead of making assumptions about my limitations. The Forbes article led to speaking engagements and investment opportunities I never would have pursued if I'd stayed completely invisible. But the most important thing that came out of this whole situation wasn't the public vindication or the family recognition. It was the realization that I had been hiding not just from my family's assumptions, but from my own potential. For 3 years, I let their underestimation become my cover story. I let their limited vision of me become my excuse for staying small. Jessica's Instagram post didn't just expose her family's blindness. It exposed my own complicity in staying invisible. We both learned something important that week. She learned that success isn't always visible. And I learned that sometimes visibility is necessary, not for validation, not for recognition, but for impact. Because when you have the power to change lives, staying silent isn't humiliate selfishness. The screenshot is still circulating. Jessica's original post next to the Forbes article, side by side, with the caption, "When keeping it humble goes wrong." But there's another screenshot that means more to me. It's from Jessica's Instagram story last week, a photo of us at dinner. Both of us laughing, with the caption, "Dinner with my brilliant sister, who taught me that the most successful people are often the ones making the least noise. Still learning from her every day. #actual success. #proud sisters. Some stories don't need a perfect ending. They just need an honest one. This is ours. *. Have you ever been underestimated by people who should know you best? Have you ever discovered that someone close to you was hiding their true success? Share your story in the comments. Sometimes the most surprising revelations come from the people right next to us. *.